Hi there, this is Gwen Peterson, and I am the mentor of Insights and Illuminations. Welcome to the healing power of journaling. I often hear people when I bring up journaling, I hear that it's too hard, they don't know how, they've done it, they haven't enjoyed it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the expectations that sometimes we have when we go into a new practice. And hopefully, as we work through the different topics of this video, you will feel more comfortable with taking on a journaling practice yourself, because there is a lot to be gleaned from it. So we're going to talk about why you want to journal, the different types of journaling, a little bit about how I started, and some tips on how to be successful at it. And then we'll recap what you learned. So let's get started. And we're going to begin with science. Science is starting to do some research on the benefits of journaling and what journaling can offer a person who steps into this type of practice. Journaling. Did you know that just 15 to 20 minutes 3 times a week will boost your memory, improve sleep, build self-esteem, alleviate stress, and improve your health? Yep, that's what science has learned about watching people who have a good, strong journaling practice. And aside from the health benefits, journaling helps with your spiritual practice from the standpoint that it helps you to quiet your mind, and it helps you to really see the thought processes that are going on in there and how best to work through some of the things that you might have going on in your life. There are a number of different journaling methods. Okay, we're only going to touch on a handful of them here, but you're able to explore that. There's nothing like a little search engine to bring them all up and play around with what the different journaling methods are. I'm going to touch on a few of them here that play a significant role in spirituality in helping you to get a foothold into your path. The next one is dream journaling. Keeping a journal and a pen next to the bed and writing as soon as you wake up, or if you're awakened by a dream, and writing that dream out so that you remember it and can revisit with it later. A lot of times we think we're remembering our dreams once we wake up, but it starts to degrade pretty quickly. So having your journal handy if you want to record your dreams. I personally don't do that, but I've heard a lot of people who tend to have a lot of lucid dreaming will do this type of practice. When my students start to progress through their spiritual practice a little bit further, they begin gratitude journaling. Okay, and this is where the journaling is focused on things that you are truly appreciative of. Okay, one is to show the gratitude, the other is to help raise the vibration that you have. Doodling. Doodling is exactly what it sounds like. You're just going to have a journal. It can be the same journal that you've been doing your other work in. And what you're going to do is just kind of draw and doodle. It's about letting that creativity flow. So whatever's coming in that moment when you're being reflective. Okay. Automatic writing. This one is, again, another technique that my students will begin to work with. It's for the spiritual practice. You'll start out with the free form, where you're just kind of dumping what's in your head onto the paper. And then you move into the gratitude journaling, because it's just kind of where you'll start to segue with your practice. And then automatic writing, for some people, their journaling will just start to go into automatic writing. And what that is it's writing that is tapping into your soul, spirit, and you're free writing from a higher place. So, so a lot of times what'll happen is you'll be getting this inspired information, and you'll just be writing it. And then when you're done, you'll look at what you wrote and you'll be like, wow, that's amazing stuff there. And that is such a beautiful place to be. So automatic writing is something you can look forward to if you wish to go that route on your spiritual path. I'd like to share a little bit about my journey. And journaling and meditation are quite similar. You've probably noticed the health benefits are very similar. The focus is similar in that you're taking that observer mind and watching and observing the thoughts that are going on in your head. And even though they're similar in that regard, they are very different in their effect. Okay, meditation is usually more sedentary, where you're sitting and or laying down and allowing your consciousness to move out. Writing tends to be you're anchoring into the physical realm. With like automatic writing is anchoring into the physical realm. Because you're doing pen to paper, it's very physical, because you're making that pencil move. So you're not withdrawing your consciousness completely like you do in meditation. And that in and of itself makes these two very complementary to each other. Okay, so it would be no surprise for me to tell you that when I hit this place in my life where I was feeling a void, I was feeling emptiness, I was not happy, I began a search for my joy. All right. And I started my meditation practice. And like I said, you're probably not surprised by what I just told you about how these two things go together, that right about the same time, I started to journal. And the journaling was less intentional, I think, than the meditation. Okay, the meditation, I kind of had to force myself to get into the practice of doing it. The journaling came around that same period of time. There was a lot of angst going on. There was some family dynamics that weren't going really well. There was a number of different parts of my life that I just it was adding to the not happy in my life. All right. So one night I was laying in bed, and at this point in time, getting to sleep was a chore for me. I would lay in bed till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. My mind would not quiet down. It would just keep spinning and spinning, and it would run through this and run through that. And all of a sudden I'd realize another hour had gone by, and my mind was just as active as when I laid down. So one night I was laying in bed, just miserable that I couldn't fall asleep. And all of a sudden I had this nudge to just get up and just write this, just write it out. And so I got up and I went to the kitchen. At first I said, no, I didn't want to do that. I'm trying to go to sleep. And then a part of me said, well, you're not sleeping. if you're not sleeping, you might as well get up. So I did, and I went and sat down at the table, and I got some paper, and I got a pen, and I started to write. What was on my mind? What was it I was just thinking about? I was like, there was a specific event that just kept turning over and over. So I just started writing writing about the event. And as I was writing, I could feel myself feeling a little bit better. And I kept writing, and I wrote for the longest time, for like hours I wrote. And I had pages and pages of all kinds of stuff. I was when I finally felt like I had had completed what I needed to do in that moment. I was shocked at how much writing I had done. I was even more shocked at what came out of my head and onto the paper. And it was from that point on that I started journaling every day, because as soon as I went to bed, I fell straight to sleep. And so I started to incorporate that into my practice. Like I said, I would journal before, during, and after meditation in order to quiet my mind around that. In the evening, if I didn't fall straight to sleep, I would lay down, I would get up, and I would journal. So so I can definitely say you will have improved sleep if you journal, especially right before bed. Combine that with a little bit of meditation beforehand or afterwards, right before bed, and you will get some really good sleep. So that's how I got started. Now let's talk about how you can get started and be successful at this, because it's not as difficult. I guess for some people, it is as difficult as meditation, because it does require you sitting down and doing it. And we can find lots and lots of excuses to avoid certain parts of our lives. Okay, if we've had a pretty colorful life, there may be some parts of it we really don't want to look at. And so in journaling, maybe there's a fear factor involved. But whatever the reason, it's where you want to stop and you want to sit with it and kind of face your demons. Why can't I? Why don't I? There's so much benefit to doing it, and it doesn't hurt. It's not going to hurt you. And I encourage you to try it. So let's talk about some different ways to get started so that you can feel more successful at it. Commitment is key. All right. If you're going to do it, you do it full-heartedly. Okay. Don't do this half-heartedly. You want to do it full-heartedly. You make a commitment of when you're going to start. You put it on your calendar. Start with a manageable plan, like yoga, not yoga, the journaling. Oh my goodness. Commitment is key. Okay. Come into this full-heartedly. Don't do it half-baked. If you're going to do it, put it on your calendar. Start with a manageable plan. Maybe start with 1 day a week. We talked about that in the journaling. Oh my gosh. Commitment is key. You want to start with a practice. Commitment is key. You don't want to do this half-baked. You want to go into it full-heartedly. And once you commit to it, put it on your calendar. Make it a manageable plan. Maybe start with just 1 day a week. Maybe combine it if you've started a meditation practice. Maybe put it alongside that. Or if you're struggling to sleep, do it right before you go to bed. But make it so that it's manageable. Don't say you're going to do it every single night when you know that's not going to be the case. Pick a day, pick a time, and commit to it. You also want to find a quiet, comfortable place to sit for 15 to 20 minutes, okay? You can set a timer if it makes you feel more comfortable with not going too long. Usually once you get writing, it's more that you're going to write too long. Find a quiet and comfortable place to sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Set a timer if you feel you need it. Anywhere that you will not be disturbed. All right. So maybe it is that meditation place, if you have a meditation chair or a meditation room that you're using, a corner that you know you won't be disturbed, a room with a door so that you can let people know this door is going to be closed. Please do not disturb me. Journaling with pen or pencil. Okay. Journal with pen and paper. Okay. Do it the old-fashioned way. All right, you're going to want to get a journal, pen and paper, whatever works for you, pencil. All right, now journaling. You're going to want to get yourself a journal or paper, a pen, or a pencil. Okay, this is good old-fashioned writing, and do not be tempted to get on the computer to type this stuff out. All right, pen to paper is the best way to journal. All right, take the time to get a favorite pen or a favorite pencil, colored or not. Loose leaf sheets of paper will work if you don't already have a notebook. If you've committed to it, don't say, well, I don't have a journal, so I guess I can't do it. Scrap paper, whatever it takes to get going. If you make the commitment, stick to the commitment. Next, let's talk good old-fashioned writing. Journaling involves paper, pen, or pencil, colored or not. It can be loose sheets of paper, notebook, or a fancy journal. Whatever makes it more comfortable and more sacred to you in the work you're going to be doing. Do not let the fact that you do not have a fancy journal be the reason you put off doing this. All right. If you feel you want to start a journaling practice and you're putting it on the calendar and you're setting a time to do it, just get some scrap paper and start writing. And then at some point, you'll find the journal that will be special for you in this process. Don't judge. This is, again, like meditation. Sometimes the first thing you want to do is judge yourself, but don't do that. Go inward. You want to journal. Okay, so you have your pen, you have your paper, you have your quiet place. It's that day at that time, and you are ready to begin your journaling practice. Now, journaling is about listening to your mind. Okay, journaling is going to activate the observer of your mind. You want to watch where your mind is going and maybe ask yourself questions and see what answers you hear. With practice, your mind will quiet down. With practice, your journaling content will change. It'll go from spewing day events to more uplifting observations of the wonderful things around you. It's a process. It's just allow yourself to move through what you need to move through. So when I say observer, if you stop long enough, and that's what these practices are, both the meditation and the journaling, is putting your life on hold for a short period of time so that you can sit with yourself and really listen to what is playing in your head all day, every day. Now, when you start journaling, your mind might play shy guy, and you go to write and there's nothing there. And you're like, okay, it's empty, nothing there. So that's where sometimes asking yourself questions to get things rolling, or reflecting back on your day. And I'm not saying dear diary kind of stuff, but sometimes if you think back, was there something in the day that caught your attention, good or bad? And just write about it, what comes up. And then you just let your mind write it, and don't cut the thoughts off short. All day long, every day, we have thoughts that'll come in, and we don't want to go there. So we stop it and we stuff it until it blows up later in some inappropriate moment. So journaling is a time where you get to listen to those thoughts all the way through, and they are going to surprise you when you start to do this. So allowing your mind to feel comfortable and in a safe place to share. All right. Again, we're talking 3-year-old here. If you watched the meditation video, I talked about how your mind is like a 3-year-old. You want your mind to know that this is a safe place for it to communicate to you. And that's all it wants to do. Your mind tends to come from a very fearful place because that's the culture that we tend to be in. So it's fearful, and a lot of its thoughts are about trying to keep you safe. Okay? It can't go into the future. It can only regurgitate the past. So when you're sitting and you're allowing yourself to hear what your mind has to say, don't judge. Don't point a finger at it. Don't get angry with yourself. Let those thoughts come out, and do it like that 3-year-old is like your child sitting in front of you and confessing to you. You don't want to yell at that child and scare them so that they don't feel they can safely talk to you anymore. You want to hear what it says. You want to hear the full breadth of what its fear is. And then some of that stuff, once it's heard, goes away. Okay, once it's been heard completely, your mind is satisfied and it goes away. Other ones will come up and they may need a little work, especially if it has to do with abundance or relationships and stuff. That might take a little bit more, but that's okay, because now you've got something to work with. You've got it right in front of you, and you can see what it is that you want to work with. And I'll say this too. A lot of people have said to me, but Gwen, putting that on pen, taking pen and paper, putting that stuff on paper, isn't that like the worst thing you can do? No. Okay. The worst thing you can do is have those thoughts spinning and spinning and spinning like an open app on your phone, draining the energy off of your battery. Okay. Taking it from in your brain and you put it on paper lets you get rid of it, lets you close the app. All right. And once that app is closed, you will start to see your life begin to change, because we're talking law of attraction here. If you've got negative energy, negative thoughts that are spinning and not being heard, you are drawing negative energy things to you. All right. So if you're not getting the job you're looking for, I bet once you start journaling, you're going to see some of the thoughts you're holding around getting employment and why that might be a little bit hard to come by. Same with abundance issues and such. So each time is going to be different. Each time you sit down is a totally different day, new place, new thoughts. So you're going to give yourself that. It's a practice. Don't worry about your grammar, your punctuation. My journal, if you ever looked at mine, you can't even read it because I get so deep into the nooks and crannies and listening to spirit and all that, that even though I'm still writing and my mind is like, oh, what beautiful writing, I'm so far in another place with inspiration that what's on the paper isn't even legible at that point. So don't worry about it. Okay. And journal anytime your mind is noisy. Sometimes you might want to just take a break. If you're on a break from work, have a piece of paper you can write on. Keep a little notebook with you. Keep it, in your back pocket. I know some people, they like to use their phones to do it. Again, unless it's got the little pen where you can write, I would say no, because there's something about pen to paper that is going to make and break the whole experience of opening up that mind. Experiment with different types of journaling. Don't feel you're locked into this. Quick search engine will give you a plethora of journaling styles, and play with them. Some of them, like doodling, how fun is that? Go out there and just, it doesn't have to be all work, because sometimes you might feel like it's work when you're trying to work on something, clear something, move through something. Take a break and play. And again, visiting with the fact that you can journal before, during, and after meditation. All right. It'll definitely improve that practice for you as well. It'll help to quiet your mind so that you can focus where you want to put your focus. So let's do a quick review of what we learned today. Journaling is a practice on how to quiet your mind. There are health benefits to journaling. There are many types of journaling. It takes commitment, it takes some practice, and a whole lot of no judgment. It is a perfect demonstration of self-love and self-care. And if you would like to find out more about the work I do and maybe take your foundational work of journaling and meditation and take them to the next level, go to insightsandilluminations.com. That is where you can find all of my work. You will also be able to sign up for my newsletter and stay updated on what's happening and receive inspirational notes as well. So that's it. I thank you for being here. Take care. Reach out to me if you have questions about your practice and how I can help. Thanks.